Good morning, Dungeon good people. What's up? Clarence, man. Outstanding video, bro. Shout out, answering direct questions. A lot of stuff in there, but that's how we roll. Just want to point out there, you see that coffee cup, baby. What's it say? 20% stud, 80% muffin. Today I'm feeling about like 10% stud, a little rough. No sleep with the pain, but you boys make it worthwhile. Shout out my boy Fat Boy, the Fat Boy. You are the man, the Migos, the producer, the man, the real. I'm with you, man. Let's do it, Dedgen. Let's do it, bro. I can see it right now. Me and Clarence going at it across the room. Lethal's turning red. He's about to jump up. Jason, the Fat Boy, comes in all cool and says, "What about this? You the dude. I'm looking at you, the Fat Boy. Let's make this show a reality. The Dungeon's it." First of all, let's talk the people part in the Dungeon. Hey, Falcons 007, you're one of the newest members. I agree with Cog, man. Right on, bro. You balanced. You got balls of steel. Love that about you. You keep going. I've known all you other cats for a long time. Kiwi, man, I know you. I'm going to give you a shout out, bro. You all about them lines. You all about that big, tough, Maori tub, whoop it down, white boy's ass. I like that. At Vandy, love you, man. I'd love to see your face live, see some stuff. And JD, power to you, bro. We hanging on this wide receiver thing. I'm going to address it. Won't leave anybody out on it. Vale, love to hear your opinions, everybody else. So if I missed anybody like Clarence, let me throw out one, everybody in the dungeon is badass. Two, everybody in the dungeon, there's no group thing. That's the awesome thing. You know, I'm gonna shout out Francis here and my boy Jed. It's always a good, lively debate. It's a good way of looking at things, and everything's original. I almost look at this like the Eckhart Perkins version of the dungeon's like the Eckhart Perkins version of the chat room, if you will, the discussion forum, because it's about adapting. It's about going to the strengths. It's about taking the better of everybody, putting it together. You know, and I know you just had a lively argument, which I'll kind of take off the bat through and throw it out because one, it's easy to do this on video. I think the thing I love the most about Smith is take the defensive side of the ball. Let's just take the OBJ thing and put aside for just a second. He was just an available guy. We all agree with the explosiveness, right? And like him or not, it's a possibility. But let's talk about that offense. There most definitely, when you look at this Arthur Smith offense, you see these elements in this tradition. Like I don't know if you guys knew this. He goes back as far as Joe Gibbs, back at DC, and the elder Shanahan and Terry Mike Malarkey, Rabisky, Kim Wisenhunt, and multiple other, LaFleur, they're all in his legacy and his lineage. And what I think I'm really digging the most about Smith is, I think let's say Vandy said this, he has a lot of that young Belichick in him. Does that make sense? That long time, successful, coordinator, knows his business. Ironically, like Belichick, who did coach some offensive special teams. Some people don't know this, but he did, right? Even the defense especially. Smith's also done it too. He did a little D-line coaching. He's done some O-line cuts. He did special teams coaching. Got a big, broad, varied experience. And, by the way, before I forget the lineage, he also had Chris Palmer, which is a run and gun, as you guys know. Back in the day, seriously, open them up 5 wide, let's go let it fly. So I'd like to address the thing. We talk about Eckhart Perkins, or EP. Smith is the epitome of that. I mean, Smith, if you look at this offense and what he's done, let's do a few things first. One, you'll notice a tendency of an EP offenses. They'll have hybrid players. I think, Clarence, you knocked it out of the park. Guys like Cordell Patterson. The lines are really blurred. Is he a wide receiver? Is he an H-back, right? Is he, even a tight end? I don't say he is, but he could line up as one, right? Is he a running back? Is he a special teamer? No. You know what he is? He's a fucking offensive playmaker. You know what's beautiful about that? The EP kind of mindset is you put him in a position of strength just to see. That's the first hallmark. Two, you guys see the zone runs. You see those bootlegs, and you see a lot of that Kyle. You do see that Kyle Shanahan, right? What's EP do? What is EP all about? It takes what works. Play to the strengths. Matt Ryan is absolutely 110% probably the most tailor-made, if I could shit it out of my mama's womb, right, quarterback for a West Coast style offense, true EP. The guy is all about the point guard, right? He is the point guard. He's a Trey fucking Young, man. He is the Trey fucking Young or the Steph Curry of the football world. Look, he sees 6 guys on it, he delivers around. I'm going to throw you guys back to a fun stat. If you go back to Boston College, Matt Ryan's last year, when he kind of came on the scene, I don't know if you guys knew that. I think he completed 10 or more passes to some like 16 guys. It was some insane amount. I'll have to look it up. And I know like 10 or more guys at 20 or more receptions. I mean, that's what Matt is. He's a dealer, man. He's a point guard. He's got that vision. He's seeing, he's going. I think, you know, when you take the type of offensive mindsets before, say, DK, Dirk Cutter, who I fucking hate, who Clarence I fucking hate, who Vandy hated, and all y'all hated, I don't know what the fuck he came back, and fuck Dan Quinn, pardon me for saying, I'm going to say a lot of fucks on this, because Dirk Cutter, I don't even need caffeine, he just gets me wired the fuck up, right? Let me tell you what was wrong with DK. Who the hell runs a Sid Gilman, Don Coryell, 4 wide receivers, straight slugger route, go routes all the time? Max protect. I mean, come on, one offensive line, they got to block 12 fucking seconds. I'm surprised. One thing we learned in Matt, he's a tough damn guy. What I love when you came back to the Smith world, and I don't think we've seen this probably, I think I'll probably agree with you guys, since Shanny was probably his most operating. Let's give Sark a good credit. He actually did well to start, but kind of Malarkey, and even though Malarkey's a different coordinator than Shanahan, what they all had in common thing is, look, Matt is a dealer, man. He's a smart guy. He's brilliant. He knows how to be a great field general. You know, that's pretty much, when I say EP, look at Brady throughout the years. Brady, you know, look, nobody's Tom Brady. He's the GOAT. I mean, right? Let's just cut that shit. He could play in the air and he's got intangibles out of the roof, but watch Brady at his best and watch Matt at their best. And hell, even watch Peyton Manning at his best if you want to. Or even that little short little fuck with the mole that got on my nerves in New Orleans. What was the name? Oh, you know, Drew Sleazy, right? You know, but great quarterbacks and great dealers, great point guards, the guys that move the ball along. Great coordinators take advantage of it. That's a skill set. I mean, yeah, he ain't a running quarterback. He can run. He's got more athleticism. He's got the athleticism of a very weird looking Gumby, but he does. So you take that EP aspect, you run this vein through. What we've seen with Smith is one, back to the hybrid players. Clarence, you're spot on. Kyle Pitts, I think, I don't remember the percentage. I'm sure, look, 007, one of you guys in there, lethal. One of y'all correct me. I'm sure there's data out there, and I'm going to be lazy because it's like 4:30 in the morning. I'm just waiting. But yeah, he's lining out wide. He's lining in the slot. He's lining in line. Obviously not as much. But again, like Cordell, what's his position? You know, some fans, like we're seeing on the message boards, you know, I mean, I'm not, look, let's just cut this shit. Those guys, most of them they probably are sucking Madden, but that's all they're into. The greatest coaches, the greatest leaders, the greatest systems, right? Let's put these 3 factors, because I think you always need a great system, right? You need to have the great leadership that knows how to motivate and assert. And you've got to have, and I'm going to use a term here, willing and capable players. Okay, so let's get this out of the way. And I'm sure you guys think, fuck a Paul Warland, right? Fuck a Jag on that level. You know, I got no love for Jaquiz Rogers, right? He wasn't worth it too. I mean, these guys are just scrubs, right? There's just, you know, a lot of these guys we drafted, you might, you know, name your bust. And I became very little of a TD fan for like the last 3 years because of that. You still got to have a certain amount of talent, but when you've got the right system, the right leadership, the right coaching, if you would. Now, I'm going to put leadership with coaching and general manager. I think they're hand in hand, right? Which I love the pairing. And then the right players. You got the ingredient, the baseline, if you would, as we call it in my world. I'm a tech guy. We have a technical baseline. We have the baseline for we're good. But to get really great, where the creativity aspect acts into, you know, and again, I'm going to put back in the EP. Look, no doubt there's a lot of elements of West Coast offense. But there's also some elements of a vertical game involved. There's also some elements of exotic smash mouth. The EP kind of mindset that Smith's bringing to the table, right? He's bringing to the table. And I think P's on the other side as well, we'll address that in another video, is we're seeing the mindset of versatility but talent, right? Talent to be plugged in. And let's just talk about playmaking. That is important and overrated. So yeah, the Pitts drafting, huge, man. I mean, just spot on huge. Is he a wide receiver? Is he a tight end? Is he an H-back? I say, who gives a fuck? He's all of the above. Fuck, I don't care. Run him around in. Get the ball in the hands of the playmaker. Cordell, same thing, right? Who cares? Get him the ball. So now I'm gonna bring it back. And again, the beauty of the Smith I think I've seen is I don't think we would have had that flexibility on our cutter. Now, even Shanahan, for all his brilliance, Shanny wasn't a great hybrid type coach guy. I mean, to a point he was, but you know, he's got some tight end success, obviously. You know, got Kittle and stuff, but Shanny was still kind of in the box guy in terms of it. Was he out of the box in terms of genius? All right, absolutely. You know, did he take the Gibbs line play, his dad's stuff to the next level? Absolutely, but Shannon was resistant. He was non-evolved, he didn't adapt as well. You ever notice that? Like we're talking about Super Bowl, bringing Free back, which, by the way, I agree with you. Freeman in his prime underneath Arthur Smith would be a completely different player. I guarantee he would have got 5-6 more great years, and he wouldn't have got worn down. Because I think one thing I see about the Smith, which I see in Josh McDaniels, by the way, you know, you may not like him as a coach. Josh McDaniels is a hell of an offensive coordinator. You know, Charlie Weiss before him. And you look at the common thing. Ray Perkins going way back. Let's go way back. Way back, you know. Look at these great EP kind of coordinators. Sean Payton, which has an EP basis that he learned from, right? What did they do? They had these hybrid players. They got the Taysom Hills. You know, they got the Cordell Patterson. You know, they got the Kyle friggin' Pitts guy. That's where that mindset, I think we're so lucky, is we finally got a guy that's not in Smith, not chasing his legacy, you know. In other words, he's not so tethered to his predecessor's lineage of any types. Maybe that's because of the variety of coaches he's worked under. This is a guy that's all about making it win, about adapting the system, and keeping it simple, stupid, right? But putting his people in the place to win. And the other thing he's great at, he's been injecting that playmaking juice. So let me go back to the OBJ. OBJ was an off-the-comment discussion. Hey, look, discussions are always virulent in there. They're contentious. We don't do groupthink. Hey, let me shout out a little bit aside the Fat Boy. You know what our tagline is? We don't do groupthink, baby. We don't. That ain't our thing. We all about jazz, man. Jazz is all about improvisation. It's about taking you all off the level. Moving. That's what we about, brothers. That's what I'm talking about. And I think that's what I like about Smith. He's a jazz composer, man. This guy is a guy. He's, you know, look, you even take Shanahan, you see some of it with, you know, like even the Super Bowl. You know, he's got this game plan. He's got this boom, 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 right? You know, it works 99% of the time. But that biggest game, it didn't work, right? That biggest game, he couldn't just run, right? He couldn't put back that aggressive nature and adapt. You know, he couldn't look across the field at a Belichick, who is probably the greatest field marshal ever and one of the greatest defensive coordinators ever, and go, you know what? We need to pound a little. We need to slow the clock down. We need to do the smart thing. Flash forward, what we just saw recently with the coup kick, right? So take the Smith, and he's shown this ability to evolve, and I think we all busted his balls quite a bit early on. Hey, he's predictable, right? Young blood, though, out to he was predictable at first. But did you notice he evolved? What did he do in the Saints thing? Let me show you what I like about it. So this guy's been like, he's trying to stay true to the one run. Absolutely not. God. I think his first priority, which I'm old school too, baby. You know, run the ball, pound the fuck, impose your will. Football's about imposing your will. Business is about imposing your will. Leadership in general is imposing. I impose my will fucking daily, just like every other alpha dog motherfucker in that goddamn dungeon does. It's about alpha dogs pissing on a motherfucker, breaking him down, and peeing on him again. But you know what I do like about the greatest leaders and the ones I see the most potential? Take Smith. We were all conservative, right? Who the hell thought we were going to do a 60-yard, was it slugger route? Is that correct? Correct me wrong, JD or Peyton Manning, anybody in there? They ran a slugger route, 60 fucking yards. That's pretty brilliant. Pretty brilliant. Now, where I see the difference between a Shanahan maybe and him, the smart move is exactly what Smith did. Look, man, I got him on the ropes. Man, I might can hang a little psychological beating. I can alpha dog a little more. Pee on them, step on their nuts. Fuck you, Superdome. We're going to go a touchdown, right? We're going to take one more shot. He could have done that, right? What did he do, man? He went back, restrained himself, played to the strengths. He said, man, I got young Who. Man, I love young Who, boy. Who? That's my dude. Cuckoo is crazy. I'm gonna call Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. That's my dude, right? I'm gonna run the ball, Matt's gonna kneel, get some time, kick the field goal. The idea that he could combine that amount of ferocity, that amount of innovation, that amount of risk aggressiveness, but then balance it, to use that term balance used for 07, is just phenomenally a great thing in a coach. Phenomenally. Another thing too is what you see with this team. Let's talk about another element that I kind of didn't put in. But so we talk about the system, right? We talk about the leadership of the players. Then let's talk about that enabler, that underlying thing that keeps it together. We heard all this bullshit on brotherhood, accountability. What I do see in this team is accountability. You don't do it, you don't play. You screw up, you get hit. But what I like about it, it's not a red badge of curse. It's not a red letter of scarlet fucking letter on your chest that falls around. You throw a pick, fuck it, just don't do it again. Let's do the thing. I'm gonna throw in a leadership. Let's talk TF too. So I'm gonna take another topic. Sorry guys, running late on this one, but I'm gonna take TF, right? Big difference between him and TD. I think you pointed out that too, not a God. Look, Clarence, we and you, Val, and everybody. Look, we're a bunch of football geeks up in this motherfucker. Let's just get this out of the way, right? We know that. We knew they were going to try to get bigger on the O-line, the dig line. We knew they were going to get bigger and in general. I'm all for it, man. Speed is great. Speed kills. But at the end of the day, man, you got to punish a motherfucker. You got to body slam. Like you said, football is all about the will. It's just like the military, bro. You don't just beat a motherfucker's ass. You carpet bomb their ass. You submit them. You coerce them into submittal. You punish them, right? So what I've likened again back to this whole thing we're kind of starting with, what are we seeing with this new regime? And I can't remember, it may be Jed, it may be in 07, it may be multiple, by the way. If I leave somebody out, look, the dungeon's gotten really, really big, bro, so it's getting hard to keep up with everybody in there, although y'all are all my dudes. The constant churn of the roster is such a welcome addition. We were getting gashed up front. So what did we do? We got to get a 350-pound man. I mean, 330-pound, right? Purnell, I believe, was 330. We ain't good enough. Let's go get rushed, 350. Here's the fact, man. I think you all guys know that. Maybe we can get all to an edge guy. The odds are getting an edge off the street right now. Maybe. It's kind of tough. Maybe we get a late post-deadline trade, but the reality is, most edges that are worth a shit, that aren't broken down, that aren't finesse guys, that aren't the Vic Beasleys are going to be taken. But what I love about this capability, which we're talking about capability, everything's a theming capability, right? We can add capability to tier D line. We have done so. We are adding capability to secondary. I believe we just signed Chris Williamson and Pitt's kid was at Pittsburgh. Keep your eyes on him. He was actually a pretty interesting kid at Pittsburgh, by the way. But we're not satisfied. And yes, we are getting bigger across the board. One thing I noticed this last mock draft season, which, dude, we're all geeks on this, and I can't wait to do the draft show. And again, I'm gonna throw the plug in. Hey, the Fat Boy, man, we some photogenic, crazy motherfuckers, man. We could all make some ching-a-ling-ting. You can manage, co-produce, produce it, direct it all, bro. We put our faith in you, the Fat Boy. And hey, Clarence, you got the look, baby. You all smooth with a goatee, get a little white up in that thing, and doing your little Godfather, little bit of, a little bit Alex Cross look over there while you're on surveillance. I'm just saying, you smooth. I look a little rough down. Normally I got on some GQ looking shit, but it's still Under Armour, baby. But and I'm rambling on purpose here because it's all about the jazz. It's about the improvisation, about bringing it together. That's what makes Miles. What I'm seeing this team is all about the improvisation. We're playing the notes, right? We hear it sounds good. We hit a point where it doesn't work anymore. What do? Let's go get something else. Let's adapt on the fly. Let's go get our guys. Secondary, I think you got pointed out. What was the difference in the draft class? Look at Darren Hall. Even look at Avery Williams. Those are bigger, more physical players, right? Williams is primarily a special teams, but he is a big dude. He's a solid dude. He looks thick. Grant. Look, Richie ain't playing. I busted his ass. Look, I ain't gonna lie. I still would have had Javonte Williams over Richie Grant any day. I'm running back bias. I can't believe I'm the only one. I can't believe the only ones that are seeing that Mike Davis just doesn't have that burst of stuff. But So the punishing back with him, but let's give Grant some credit. Maybe he isn't cracking up. Maybe he isn't playing that second round lofty expectation. But he's made some great stops. He's been physical. Jalen Hawkins, back to Jalen Hawkins. We're seeing a very physical young player. Roman, headhunt. Man, Harris looks like what did Eric Harris drink during the offseason? I mean, that homeboy is looking like Jack fucking Tatum out there. He's like headhunting, dude. I mean, that hit he did, it was Robbie Anderson. I can't remember whatever the receiver was. Man. I mean, bro, he just dislodged that bitch. The Saints, he's tagging them. You're seeing that physicality on both sides of the ball being a thing. So the future's bright. So last but not least, let's take on the OBJ. Okay, one, I don't know if any of us would even be in the would OBJ want to play here? Who even knows, right? I'm not going to call him a selfish guy. I'm not going to say all that because you guys have all been in locker rooms. Look, I was in a high school locker room level, been around sports or teams my whole life. I was not on a level like, say, the Fat Boy, Young Bloods, United Gods, some of the other guys who played semi-pro, college, things like that. But, what one man's cancer is often one man's treasure. So we don't know that. So I want to say that about him. I'll say this about him. He's a physical guy. He's got great big hands. He's a low-risk, high-reward signing. Are there other receivers out there? Yeah, there's probably Devin Funches. I will agree with you, Clarence. This isn't even a debate. I just wanted to clear the air on this. Especially thank you for coming out and saying you agree. Hey, look, wide receiver ain't complete, right? But I could see this next year going into the draft and looking at more of a bigger hybrid tight end. I'm all over that, honestly. And again, back to that kind of EP mindset. Notice I didn't say EP offense, I said EP mindset, right? Plug, play, adapt. Well, why does that tight end, does that bigger wide receiver, does that hybrid guy who can go all over the place like Cordell matter so much? Well, because you got a point guard. You got a point guard in Matt Ryan, who you guys are basketball fans. Like I know Lethal is, and a few others. The wing position is probably the most unique position in NBA because the wing can be anything from a small forward to a power forward. They can almost play in a center to play all over the place. They just have this one thing in common. They tend to be 6'7", 6'9"ish. They tend to have some stoutness to them. They tend to be kind of a great all-around player. And let's use the point guard analogy here. You take the shorter player or the player with the vision. What are the wings so important? They're not a big and mobile center. They're not a slender, slight shooting guard, right? They're not a point guard. They're all over the place. You can put a four-wing lineup tomorrow in today's NBA and play, right? And the thing they do have in common, again, is physicality, length, right? A certain amount of athleticism. They can shoot. They can pound boards. They can rim roll. They can rebound. And I think if you look at the rosters under TF, you see a lot of those type guys, right? Those wide receivers we talk about that are one Big Mac away from being tight end that can play tight end, right? Taysom Hill again. Obviously, Cordell Patterson's right now with Smith. And so I think we're going to see going forward a bunch of hybrid guys. I think it's going to be hard to find that guy. Trey Burton keeps coming to mind with me. If Trey's healthy, Trey I think is 6'2", 240, pretty good speed, runs routes like a wide receiver. To me, he looks like a guy. OBJ still to me right now on the field if he was motivated, if he wanted to come. Yeah, OBJ would be a player to me that has that explosive capability that would just put a little more pressure, unclog the field. I do think we need another guy. Burton's come to mind. Like I said, Devin Funches, I can never pronounce his name correct, but those type guys. That makes sense. Clarence, again, it's easier on video. It's a lot easier to convey this. One, I'm one-armed. It still hurts like hell, and I can't type. Two, I ain't got any more drugs. Ain't no cokes and hell around here. It's just me at 4:30, 5 in the morning. I'm sorry, 5 in the morning, hanging out, drinking my coffee, yakking at you guys for 24 minutes. 007, you told me I had to video longer, so I'm doing it. But I think right now we're going to have to get a stopgap. And I think we're going to have to add wide receiver. Going forth, I'll touch on the last few things. And I won't touch defense in this, although I got a lot of thoughts on defense. That's really my area of the ball. I could see pickups being as full. I could see some sort of competition at running game. I still am not convinced we wouldn't do a last minute post deadline trade for some sort of running back. Does that make sense? I think you talked about it, Clarence. Maybe a Marlon Mack. There's a few guys extra on the Ravens. There are some guys available. I want to say Minnesota's got a glut of running backs, but they're running backs. Likelihood we're just going to keep competing, probably, right? You guys know this. I think at some point Davis's leash has gotten real small. You know, pass pro is great, but do you have the burst? Can you do it? Let's be honest, our O-line looks a lot worse than it is with Davis, and a lot of it's just Davis just is slower. He really is. 2 wide receiver, I think you got to add to the stable. Again, would I do an OBJ? Yeah, I'm always about adding capability. You know, look, the locker room shit, I'm not worried about with this coaching staff, because what I left out back when we talked about the system, the leadership, and the players, you know, the right players. You know, I talked about, you got a couple other underpinnings. I call those enablers of military. You know, I talked about, obviously, you know, you got the communication, right? The adaptability. But, you know, let's also talk culture. And I'm going to close on our culture. This culture is not a culture where you see a bunch of our Falcons players running around wearing a fucking t-shirt saying the fucking brotherhood. What the fuck does that mean? I mean, for all those stupid fucking Navy SEALs drills, right? Do you know why they don't do those drills after they pass Navy SEAL training? They're fucking worthless. Do you know what they do? And I know this world well, since you guys call me spooked. And I'm not even getting that, but you guys are really wondering, right? But Clarence, you know this too, anybody in the military, they don't carry fucking logs. They don't do stupid obstacle courses. They spend a lot of time shooting, right? Shooting at live, simulated live targets. They spend a lot of time swimming in scuba gear, right? You know, getting in that water, doing what they do. They spend a lot of time jumping out of fucking airplanes, right? They spend a lot of time drilling as a unit for synchronicity, where a look tells me what's up. That's what football is about, right? It's not a fucking boot camp, dude. Fuck you, Quinn. Fuck you, TD, your bicycle riding, granola eating, bad hairdo looking son of a bitch. That's all cute. Here's the reality. These guys are professional, right? We ain't doing Oklahoma fucking drills, right? That shit's over. You know what we're doing now? Precision, teamwork, communication, collaboration on the football field. Firing the ball, catching the ball, hitting the person, those things. Kiwi, how many times did you rail over and over again correctly in DQ area about non-sound tackling? Dude, you're all over that, and you're right. I know you're a rugby guy. You notice this year, we're tackling better, right? You don't get that from carrying a fucking log. You get that from fucking hitting a motherfucker. Matt Ryan doesn't get better carrying a log, wearing a brotherhood shirt, spouting cliches, and putting fucking roses behind his fucking ear, or whatever the hell they do, doing the pokey fucking dance, worse than Satan. I don't know what the fuck they did in the DQ occult mystic bullshit. You know what they did do under that? They didn't do football. They didn't do the fundamentals. They fucked up on a goddamn onside kick, caused an 0-5 spiral because they're undisciplined, untrained, not football players. What we're seeing now is a practice of fundamentals. They're trained like military does. We shoot, they fire, they throw. We talk to each other. A great elite unit can look at each other. They know where to go. They got the signals. You know, there's time in. What I'm seeing is a prepared team to bring this together. So rambling going forward, I think the future's up. I tell you what, I think we're on agreement. I've been on, these things go long, by the way, so I apologize for them. So I'm going to challenge all my brothers out here. I'm going to leave you with a question. Let's talk draft a little bit going forth. What are you looking at? You know, what's your type players? We've had this BPA discussion. Let's talk that discussion. So I'm going to throw out, I kind of got on Vandy a little bit there before, and we've had the BPA. Obviously, a BPA at a position needs your favorite, right? That's your preferred for anybody. I was reading Belichick a while back, some books of his, and even some Walsh. And while that is obviously their preferred method, one thing they all were about was you always add capability, right? So let me ask you, we're sitting there, number 22, 23, stuck in the playoffs, whatever it was, right? won it out, got a first round pick, got a couple second round picks. Let's just say the first 2 picks, best available players are tight end or running back. Maybe the third one picks, like the second round pick is offensive guard. Are you going to be pissed? So I'm going to ask you this question with this little caveat. The defensive players at that point are inferior that you could pick, right? There's several slots below. The offensive player positions I'm pointing out are clearly heads and shoulder above any defensive player on there, right? You can see them immediately contributing on your team. Do you go offense here? Do you? That's a hard question, so I want you to think about it. What do? Do you go BPA in this case? So I'm gonna end that question with my little spin. Yes, I would, because guess what? If the best player available was a left guard, I can't remember his name from Texas A&M, right? I see you drop. Bam, bro. I need it. Take him, right? Come back second early on. I got Isaiah Spiller sitting there, or Charbonnet. I love Charbonnet, or even Walker. Man, bam, I'm taking him, bro. If he's the best player on it. 3, there's a bunch of tight ends early on that are pretty good. They're hybrid guys. I'm having brain fart. Say my boy from Jacksonville State, for example. Texas A&M's got Vidmeyer, whatever his name is. I'm taking those guys, not even looking back, and I'm gonna fill my holes of free agency and later rounds. You know why? Because I know right now, in my opinion, if I upgrade that left guard position, I put a guy who has a Quentin Nelson type transcendent ability. Fuck yes. Boom. I will impose my will. If I could oppose my will, right, I can win the game. Remember that thing? 2, got a running back. Spiller comes to mind, probably my favorite, right? I can run the ball, extend drives. I can bust their ass. I can piss on my enemies. I can brutalize them. I can crush their nuts because I can use that left guard and that running back to pound that team into submission. Bam, taking it. I got a tight end, wide receiver hybrid. I'll just saving the best wide receiver thing. Once I beat them into submission, I can go over the fucking top on them all day and score. Now, will it leave me wanting on defense? Sure. But I'm going to tell you from my philosophy, I'm not taking a 5th round fucking DM talent in the 2nd, 3rd round based on a run on the draft boards. So look, guys, y'all have a bright dungeon day. Let's do this often. Again, let me throw throw this out to my boy, the Fat Boy, and everybody else there. Man, I think we should podcast this shit. Be as rock as we want, drink bourbon, man. We smoke some cigars, bring some hoes on the show. Let's just have some fun, man. Migos going on. Dude, we could talk sports. People come in, we get paid. It'd be a slamming ass time. And again, I want to thank you all for one thing. There's no group thinking here. Even on text, or email, we can get a little bit contentious. Love you all. I love the fact you all don't back down on your damn opinions. I love you like to build your teams the way you want to. I appreciate you listening to my opinions. Thank you. And y'all some crazy motherfuckers. I'm just gonna say that. And I mean that in a good way. So cheers, y'all. Have a good damn morning. And tag anybody else. Throw these videos up, baby. Let's keep it going. Clarence, you started a good thing. Gucci out, baby.